Welcome to the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, discussing all things audiobooks with the authors that write the stories and the narrators that perform them. Brought to you by Viviana, Enchantress of Books.
Welcome back to the Audiobook Lovin Podcast. It's been a while. Our last episode was back in July, and I'll admit it, I needed a break. I was dealing with some serious burnout. I was burning the candle on both ends and honestly, right through the middle. So let's catch up. June was audiobook month, which meant the Audiobook Lovin Series took over the entire month. July, that was all about prepping for the sultry Listeners Awards in August. And then September happened, and now it's nearly gone. I feel like I've been running nonstop, but at the same time, like I haven't accomplished a damn thing. Somewhere in the middle of all of that chaos, I launched a new business with one of my besties called Enchantress Creations. Think herbs, magic, and a little woo-woo with some book lover goodies sprinkled in. Because you know me, I'm not getting away from books anytime soon. So if that's your cup of tea or that's your bag, go over and check us out at www.enchantresscreations.com and let me know what you think. Now here's the real talk. With everything going on, I had to stop and ask myself, do I want to keep doing this podcast? This show started as a fun passion project between two best friends who loved audiobooks. When Kelly stepped back to run her business, it became a one-woman show. What was supposed to be a fun hobby turned into something that takes time, money, and energy, and doesn't really generate income. We're now in season 7. The Audiobook Lovin Series has celebrated 11 years, and the reality is that producing this show isn't free. There's the sound engineer, hosting, marketing, graphics, software, equipment, and of course, me doing all the producing and hosting. We do have a Patreon where supporters get early access, exclusive content, and fun extras like Would You Rather, Dinner Party Guest, and FMK, Fuck, Marry, Kill. It's a small but mighty group, but I've never wanted to put the main show behind a paywall. I want everyone to discover new books, authors, and narrators. So what's next? Here's the plan. We're going to start monetizing through sponsorships and ads. Authors, narrators, production companies, you'll be able to promote on the show. For the listeners that prefer no ads, you'll have the opportunity via the Patreon, and that will have the ad-free episodes there. Now, I do have a tier that is free on the Patreon, but in order to be able to listen to the episodes with no ads, that is going to be available solely for the paid subscribers. The free tier is there to serve as a notification that there is an episode that is either coming and or has dropped or will be dropping, and that's about it. But also I wanted to provide an opportunity if anybody was on the fence of joining, they can also see what is being shared. So if you want to know what Sebastian York was picking between this and that in the Would You Rather, or who he would invite, or someone else, some of your other favorites, you would have to join the community in one of the other tiers. Patreon itself is getting a revamp with more perks. If monthly subscriptions are not your thing, there will be opportunities, and we're setting that up and I'm not sure where it's going to land. We're adding an option where listeners can donate funds for the podcast. Currently, we have the Buy Me a Coffee as a way to do it. Not many people know that platform. I also suck at promoting on my platforms, so there's that. But again, we're looking at a different place to do it, or going old-fashioned and doing a Venmo. Cash App, I don't know. We'll figure it out, but more on that more to come. Episodes are also going to YouTube, and once we hit enough subscribers, we'll monetize through the partner program. We are figuring out if the podcast will stay in its current channel, which is Viviana, Enchantress of Books, or if we need to move it to its own. And once we figure that out, we'll let you know and make sure that you guys are following us over on YouTube. Now, with regards to YouTube's, I don't know if we're doing this whole like, hey, you get to see my face, or if it's just going to be like graphic and audio wave, and you just get to listen to there. Because I do know that many of our authors and narrators can be camera shy, and others will also like to keep their privacy. So we're going to play around with it, and also just to see how I feel. I may not want to do an in-camera thing. If you have a preference, I'd like to know if it does it really matter if we show our faces, or would you just rather get the content? So don't be thinking they're like, oh, I'm going to find out what so-and-so looks like. Yeah, no, if someone's on the show and they're like, cameras are off, babe. Merch is coming back, starting simple with podcast logos. Yeah, I used to have merch for the podcast. This is how good I am at marketing for myself. Others, I'm awesome at. And for myself, not so much. I still have a lot of merch that has the old logo that I may just start bundling up together and either giving away as swag or in very inexpensive bundles. And that stuff is over at Enchantress Creations there. That's going to be the house for the merchandise for the podcast and things like that. Because, book related stuff. And I'll be stepping up marketing because this was the first podcast focused on audiobooks and narrators. We're the OG folks. We've done groundbreaking things from day one, like spotlighting June is Audiobook Month, being the official podcast for book events, and even bringing on amazing guests that are very sought after and don't ever do a damn thing as far as social media and stuff like that, like Sebastian York. Fun fact, we popped his podcast cherry and then had him back twice. We're also the only podcast that has had him that many times as a guest. And it's not bragging if it's true, but honestly, and most important, we are very proud. I'm very proud that so many in the community trust me, with being able to do this. Future goals: grow enough to hire a manager, give our sound engineer a much deserved raise, update our outdated equipment, and maybe even take the podcast on the road to live events. I know you've heard me talk about that before, but the reality is the funds need to be there in order to do all these things. Some of these changes are starting soon, others later this year and into next year. But through it all, thank you. Thank you for listening, for sharing, and for supporting the show. There's also lots of other ways to help without the monetary aspect of things, like following us on social media, sharing our post, telling people about the podcast. If you've been a guest, post about it. Let your followers know you've been a guest and all the fun you had. As the saying goes, sharing is caring, plus is content, guys. Come on. There's your free business tip. If this is the first time you've ever heard about the podcast, you got a lot of catching up to do, but it's all good and totally worth it. Also, I don't have to be the host. If you have a platform and you want to sit down with me and talk about books, let's do it. I've been upping my TikTok live game, guys. So if you want me, you can have me on the show. All right, folks, I think that's it. It's one of our shortest shows ever, I'm sure. Yeah, I tend to go long, but come on, who doesn't love talking to these folks? That's also why the pause button was invented, and bookmark buttons. I'm excited for what's ahead, and I hope that you are too. Until next time, happy listenings.
Thank you to all of our Audiobook Lovin Podcast Patreon. The Audiobook Lovin Podcast has special Patreon access levels. Join today to receive benefits including early access to episodes, shout-outs, special exclusive content, and much more. Support the podcast by becoming a Patreon at www.patreon.com/audiobookloving. We thank you for your support.
Thank you for joining us on the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, hosted by Viviana, Enchantress of Books. For links and more information discussed in today's episode, previous podcasts, or the Audiobook Lovin Series, please visit our website, vivianaenchantressofbooks.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a positive review wherever you listen to our podcast. Until next time, happy listening.